Okay, I'm gonna finish up a couple things on this fun little study. Um, First of all, I'm going to wrestle with my microphone wire, and then I'm going to paint this guy, this particular one, a little bit darker. And if you remember from our last episode, I was kind of shifting around to playing with making this dark violet, blackish violet, instead of beginning with the dioxazine purple, of just starting off with making my own purple from quinacridone pink and ultramarine blue, which I very much like, as they seem to yeah, there's a couple things going on, but I'm just going to try this, and I am going to stay with my indigo to try to keep this study consistent. Eventually I may think about changing out indigo with another dark one, because sometimes it does seem like too many layers and it just gets dull. It loses its yeah, it loses too much. Anyways, let's see. That looks like it might be a touch dark, but I'm just going to add a little bit more water. And let's check it out here. Shook off a little bit of water there. You know, that seems like it might still be a little bit dark. Brought in a little more water. There's that. I'll pop in a little bit of darker. Finish up the shape. This brush might be a bit large, but that's okay. See, what one thing I sort of just did is, as I rinsed off the color that was in my brush, because I wanted the value over on this side to be kind of lighter. And the 300-pound paper just reacts so much more forgiving to stuff like that than 140-pound. Which hopefully you're figuring out. If you haven't already, that I'm a big fan of using the 300-pound. And if you can afford the arches, to use that one. Cold press, bright white. So I'm going to see how that one dries. I'm assuming it's going to dry back a little bit lighter, and will make sense as far as the sequence of values going on here. And I'm just thinking about a couple things if I want to go in. I think I will just sort of, one of the ways, and I've done this on some other videos, but just creating a little bit more of a gradient in any given shape as it's getting to one edge. You can do that as you're painting the shape, like I did with this one, or after the fact if you're careful enough and have a light enough touch. You can just introduce a little bit of paint here, the edge where you want it to get darker, and then rinse out the color in your brush, and then come back in with just clean water. So let's try that, see what happens here. try to hold it back and just kind of introduce that water really gently. So that will help darken up the edge in a way that you don't necessarily have to wet the whole shape first. The safer way is kind of to wet the whole shape. And that didn't bring in a whole bunch better. I think I'll do a separate, more focused video on that. But just while I'm here, I'll try another one. I think I call that darkening the edges or something like that. What if I tried this one here? I wanted to get a little bit darker over here. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine. And the water is clean enough to where even where I stopped with the water, it's far enough away from any of the pigment that none of that pigment is going to travel and create an edge there. You know, this particular shape doesn't make a lot of sense for that because I wouldn't have had to go a whole lot further just to complete the whole shape. You're always safer sort of getting the entire contiguous shape wet. But when you're starting to do this on shapes that are quite a bit larger than the area you want to actually apply paint, that can be kind of a very helpful technique. So let's see. Yeah. Maybe I'll do it for this one. That's not looking quite as clean as I want it to. It was pretty clean on the left hand edge. It's not really consistent with the other ones. So let's see. What if I did this one? A little bit of darker color, not much darker. That's a subtle shift, but I like it. Got to try that with this one over there too. A little darker color. Synthetic brush. The advantage for this is that it holds less water, so it's more likely that you won't get a big watery mess. The disadvantage is that it holds less water, so it's easier to make things look sort of streaked. I think I'll call that one that done with that. Let me see. I was gonna try to see if this would, how easily this would come out. So again, that's just my small synthetic brush. Just scrub that a little bit to try to lift it out. In hindsight, I'd have a clean paper towel at the moment, but I don't, so let me find a clean spot. That's pretty good. I could come back and refine that if I wanted to. Let me see. This is looking a little sloppy Joe. I'm laughing because I'm quoting Jack Black there. From School of Rock. Ooh, boy, that's a good one. I digress. Yeah, that doesn't really want to come up very much, does it? Let me see if I have a handy scrub brush without wrestling it around too much. And because that's drying. Here's one. Let's see if this works. Ooh, picked up. Started getting to the closer to the actual shape. So that's not quite what I was after. So I would, instead of spending time on it for this video, if and when I do that, I'll be a little bit more intentional, bring it around like this, make sure that I have clean stuff and all the tools I need. But anyways, that's the idea for this study. Once again, back to just the original idea of studying changing hue, in this case, one type of blue to another type, and then continuing to transition to a purple, sort of making your way around the color wheel, and then to this darker purple, and grayed out darker purple. So making a transitions, we're going light to dark both this way and this way. We're doing a color transition this way and saturation transition this way as well. So it helps to give it a a rounded form sort of feeling. And this is the kind of thing I would apply these same concepts to anything that I'm sort of working on, whether it's for example, this bowl for this painting. It's definitely keeping all these things in mind. So check that out, have fun, and holler with any more questions.